Okay, so I think we should go ahead and get started. Thank you for being here today, everybody. I'm looking forward to this. I'm Ben Moscardelli, and I direct UConn's Office of National Scholarships and Fellowships. I'm happy to have you here today and joined by my colleagues, Luann Saunders-Canavay, our Assistant Director of ONSF and UConn's Fulbright Program Advisor, and Dr. Rowena Granger, our STEM Fellowships Advisor and Manager of UConn's Health Research Program, which is a program that's administered to the Office of Undergraduate Research. We're here today to talk about UK scholarship opportunities to the United Kingdom and Ireland. There's a lot to sort of get across, and so the plan for the day, I'd really like to just sort of introduce you to the office, give you a chance to kind of get to know us a little bit, talk about some specific opportunities and strategies and timelines, and then I'll hand the floor over to Rowena and to Luann to talk a little bit about some specific opportunities in their portfolios as well. If you have questions, everyone's welcome to use the Q&A at the bottom of the list. We are recording this, but you can send your questions through the Q&A. I've got mine is visible on the right side of my screen. I'm not sure if yours will be in exactly the same place, but you should be able to find it if you play around a little bit. I'm going to take my role as presenter back so I can share my screen. All right, here we go. And I'm going to go ahead and share now. Can everybody see my screen? Mm-hmm. All right, so here we go. So again, thanks for coming. A little bit about who we are. We're the Office of National Scholarships and Fellowships. We're the office that advises and mentors and supports, works with students at UConn who are competing for prestigious, nationally competitive scholarships and fellowships. And our mission at its core is to foster the intellectual and personal growth of the students who we work with from all backgrounds who are applying for national scholarships. And it's important to remember that we are part of enrichment programs, which means that we're open to all students at UConn, graduate and undergraduate and professional for that matter, as well as students at all, not just stores, but all of the regional campuses. And you can, of course, learn more about us. You can see there's going to be some links over the course of this presentation, but they should be fairly easy to find. But you can always access us at our website at onsf.uconn.edu. Again, I've already introduced us. I'm Vin. Luann Saunders-Canavay is our Assistant Director, and Rowena Granger is the STEM Fellowships Advisor in our office, and you'll be getting to know them a little bit better here in a few minutes. Just a quick introduction to national scholarships, because what we're talking about here tend to be pretty selective, competitive, and prestigious competitions that support really a wide range of enrichment opportunities, study abroad, graduate study, and sometimes even undergraduate study, federal employment, language learning, teaching, research, public service, all of these things. You've probably heard of some of these. Certainly the oldest kind of such fellowship that most people are aware of is the Rhodes Scholarship to Oxford University, to the University of Oxford. But obviously the Fulbright and then domestically the NSF GRFP are just examples of some of the best known fellowship opportunities across all disciplines. But I think a lot of students aren't aware of the other kind of range of opportunities that exist for graduate students and undergraduate students, which is why I'm going to keep coming back to this point that we encourage you to look into these and to do some searches and to really do some research and explore, because it may turn out that there's an opportunity for you. Even if one of the specific ones we're talking about today doesn't turn out to be the right fit, there are others out there that might be worth pursuing. And we'd love to have the chance to meet you in person, one-on-one, and talk to you about those opportunities. Certainly in person once we're back in the fall, if we get a chance to do that, but one-on-one and not in a kind of info session setting. The thing about this is that because these are so selective and because they're so competitive, the applications themselves are actually pretty arduous and challenging. So the way we look at this is that we believe that while we certainly hope everybody who applies ultimately receives a fellowship of some type, um, there's a lot to be said for the act of applying and the process of completing an application. And so our hope, at least in terms of the students we work with, our hope is that those who work with us, if you're doing your job right and we're doing our job right, the act of seeking out an opportunity, developing an application, completing it, submitting it, will probably help you clarify some of your goals, personal, career, academic goals, maybe become a little bit more aware of some of your strengths and your interests, and your purpose. It's certainly improve your writing skills in a way that in a genre that not a lot of us spend a lot of time working in, that is the genre of writing about ourselves as opposed to writing about our research, which is part of what we often do in these applications, but it's often not the only thing that's required of you in an application like this. Certainly the opportunity to get a better sense of what the most appropriate trajectory is for you in your graduate or professional study paths. And then finally, I do think there's a real opportunity for learning and growth just through the conversations that we have that might not always be possible in the classroom or even in conversations with your mentors, because this is kind of a judgment-free zone here in ONSF. And you sometimes, I'd like to tell people, you can ask us the questions that maybe you're a little too embarrassed to ask your mentor. We're happy to answer those questions and to talk to you. Our job here is to help you. And so it's a judgment-free zone in that way. And that makes it a lot of fun for us to work with you and to help you along the way. So I do think that ultimately there's a lot of value in the process of competing for these awards. And I just want to make sure I reiterate that right out of the gate before we start talking about specific opportunities. Most of you are familiar, at least familiar enough with us, probably having gone to our website after registering, but certainly if you want to set up an appointment with us, you can do it through the Talk to an Advisor button on our website. You can also go straight to Nexus and make a direct appointment with me or Luann or Rowena based on kind of what you hear today and where your interests lie. So in terms of finding the right fit, again, just a little bit of general background before we dive into some more specific opportunities. There are actually 4 really nice search engines on our website under the scholarships tab on our website. The Fellowship Opportunity Database, which is administered at the University of Chicago, the University of Illinois has a fantastic fellowships finder. Princeton has a really good database. The info database there is administered by our colleagues at the University of South Carolina. They're all tapping into similar databases, and they often yield similar results. But sometimes you might find something that appears in one but not the other. So I do encourage people to use all of them. One of the big advantages of these is it allows you to set parameters. Hey, I'm a graduate student. This is my field. This is the part of the world I'm thinking about pursuing a study in. I'm a citizen. I'm not a citizen. All of these criteria that you can specify in these search engines that really open up an opportunity for you to identify and to really focus your search. In terms of the UK, which is why we're here today, there are a couple of things I want to point you to, and one here is the UK course finder. One of the things you'll learn, I'm going to click on this and see if it loads for us here. I'm going to share this screen now. Sorry, I knew this was the only part I didn't quite know. It's not letting me do that the way I want to. So I will go back to this and just pick up from here. One of the things that you'll learn about programs in the United Kingdom is things we often refer to as graduate programs. They'll refer to as courses. We often equate course and class. It's sort of synonyms, but the course finder is really saying this is the place you would go to look for what type of graduate program you would be interested in pursuing. So the UK course finder, which you can access through our website, it's available on the Marshall Scholarships website directly, is a really great resource. The Fulbright US student program, Luann's I think going to provide a link and actually show you probably some of this, but you can focus your searches in terms of opportunities to the parts of the world that you're interested in exploring more. And then we have a landing page that I'm going to sort of pull some information off of in just a second for our UK and Ireland scholarships. So there's a lot of resources out there for you if you're interested in learning more about these kinds of opportunities generally, and then you can kind of narrow your focus as you move forward. So One of the things that's kind of interesting about these UK scholarship opportunities is that several of them require institutional nomination, or at least make possible the opportunity for what we refer to as institutional endorsement. And to enter the Rhodes, Marshall, Mitchell, or Churchill Scholarship competitions at the national level, you actually first have to be nominated by UConn through a process that's managed here in our office. So normally the way that process works, we ask students to complete an intent to apply form, which is available on our website. Ideally, you'd have a chance to complete that before May 31st. If you want to still apply after that statement of intent is due, certainly you're welcome to email me and we can talk about your candidacy and get further instructions from there. But without a doubt, even May 31st is a little bit late. We have colleagues who actually place that deadline a lot earlier in the spring. And so, again, because these applications are so arduous and it takes so much time to complete them. There's an internal application process, and those applications for the Rhodes, Marshall, and Mitchell are due on Thursday, August 26th this year. You'll need by then to identify and request, solicit, and secure at least 3 letters of recommendation. Each competition has slightly different expectations about who will write those letters, but certainly in the initial stages, you'd be talking about people who've had you in class and who have an academic or scholarly relationship with you, since these are applications to pursue graduate education in some pretty elite graduate programs at universities around the world. For Churchill this year, the campus deadline will actually be October 1st, 2021. Then what happens is we have faculty review committees that review application materials and then choose to interview some subset of the strongest candidates. We do the interviews for Rhodes, Marshall, and Mitchell. We're excited. This is actually our first year as a Churchill member or participating institution. There's no interview portion of the Churchill process, and so we don't know if there will be a Churchill interview process on campus. Rowena is going to talk about that a little more in a few minutes. But ultimately, the external deadlines for these competitions fall around October 1st for the Rhodes, Marshall, and Mitchell, and around November 1st for the Churchill. If you're thinking about applying for a grant through the Fulbright US student program, there is no nomination process, but Luann is going to actually talk a little bit more about the campus process and the campus endorsement process for that in just a few moments. Yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail about these because, again, I think a lot of this is unique to your circumstances. But the Rhodes, the Marshall, and the Mitchell, and we have one committee that evaluates applications for nomination for all 3 of these awards because they have such similar missions, are the 3 that I really want to focus on first. The Rhodes funds 1 to 4 years of graduate study at the University of Oxford in any program that's offered at the University of Oxford. We're talking here generally about seniors and also recent graduates with proven intellectual and academic achievement. Rhodes considers character to be one of their defining criteria. They call it interest in and respect for fellow human beings. But ultimately, they're talking about the energy and the talent and the ability to lead. And that's a strange word, and it gets defined differently depending on the areas in which you've really made your mark. But Rhodes is the sort of oldest of these. Again, it's the one people are often the most familiar with. We were fortunate enough to have a Rhodes Scholar recipient a couple of years ago, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work with folks who are interested in pursuing this in the future. Rhodes is a scholarship specifically to Oxford. The Marshall is a scholarship to almost any school in the UK. It's organized as a sort of really a diplomatic exchange in a lot of ways, as a thank you from the British government to the United States for the rebuilding efforts through the Marshall Plan, which some of you are probably familiar with. Generally 2 years of graduate study at any university in the UK. That includes Oxford, but it really expands out to almost any other university in the UK. Again, tends to be awarded to seniors and recent graduates on the basis of academic merit, a real desire or fit for pursuing graduate study in the UK. Often when I'm talking to students about the Marshall, the first question you want to get the sense of is, why do you even want to go to the UK? Why is this program you're talking about a good idea? Why not go to Michigan or Berkeley? Because there are other great programs in other parts of the world. So often talking about why people want to go to the UK is the place where we have a really kind of interesting conversation about whether or not Marshall is a great fit. They're also looking for leaders, and they're looking for people who are bridge builders, who will build connections with folks locally, really immerse themselves in British culture, and in the culture of the UK. And then when they return, keep those connections alive in a way that hopefully facilitates and fosters enduring relationships between elites and leaders in myriad fields in the UK and the United States. And the Mitchell is a little bit newer scholarship, but it's actually 1 year of graduate study to Ireland or some universities in Northern Ireland. It tends to be awarded again to rising seniors. The scholarship application is due in the fall of your senior year, but also relatively recent graduates, although truth be told, Mitchell scholars can be up to the age of 29. So you could actually be pretty far out the door and still have an opportunity to work with us on a Mitchell scholarship application. And again, they're looking at scholarship, leadership, reason for needing to travel to the island of Ireland, and commitment to kind of community or public service. There are more detailed informational links on our website on all of these things, but I just wanted to kind of at least introduce you to some of them to get a sense of what was out there. Gates Cambridge is a little bit of a different animal because it doesn't require institutional nomination or endorsement. It funds graduate study at the University of Cambridge. It's highly competitive. We really encourage people to work with us. We had a finalist for the Gates Cambridge a few years ago. We're happy to help people prepare for interviews if they advance in that competition. The folks at Gates Cambridge are really looking for students primarily who are interested in pursuing PhDs at Cambridge. That's really where their focus is. 3/4 of the Gates Cambridge awards to scholars from the United States go to students who are pursuing PhDs, as opposed to those who want to go do a master's and then come back and complete their PhD in the United States. So you would really need to be thinking hard about pursuing a PhD at Cambridge as kind of your default plan before it makes a lot of sense to apply for this one. But it's a remarkable group of young leaders, outstanding kind of scholars who are really interested in pursuing graduate study in Cambridge. So that's a quick overview. I know I threw a lot of information at you, but I also want to give my colleagues time to talk to you as well about opportunities in their portfolios. But come talk to us. That's really the takeaway from this is we're here. We want to talk to you more about these types of opportunities. If you think one or more of them makes sense for you, it's a great opportunity. We've had success in these competitions in the past and in recent years. And so we feel like there's a real opportunity for UConn's best and brightest students to be competitive in these scholarship competitions and to have success conventionally defined. And so we look forward to meeting you and talking to you more. And with that, what I'm going to do is stop sharing my screen, and I am going to hand the floor over to Dr. Granger.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. So as Vin mentioned, Churchill is very new to us. I'll be talking about Churchill this afternoon, and this is our first year as an institution and we'll be able to nominate students for this opportunity. So you'll be learning along with me, essentially, because this is very new to me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share probably a little more information than we probably would do normally, but so you're seeing the presenter screen, right? And not just the slideshow? Yeah, no?
Yeah, we only see the presenter screen.
Okay. I don't know why this always happens to me. Okay, better? Okay. All right, so Churchill. Churchill Scholarship provides funding to US students for a 1-year Master's of Study at University of Cambridge. And it was essentially set up to fulfill Winston Churchill's dream of having this exchange between US and UK scientific communities. It is an opportunity to attend the only college at Cambridge that is focused on STEM subjects. And it's an opportunity to conduct independent research, which of course could possibly lead to publications. The award itself, there's only 15 Churchill scholarships that are offered every year. So you get the idea of how competitive this is. And the funding is for a 9 to 12 month time period. It's worth around $60,000, depending on the exchange rate, and covers all the university and college fees, which are currently for $40,000. This includes a living allowance, travel allowance, and you will also receive reimbursement of the application fees because, of course, you'll have to apply to the institution, as well as, the application fees for the visa, as well as a health surcharge. And as part of the award, you will also engage in seminars on science communication and policy, and you will also have the opportunity to present your research, of course. In terms of the application deadlines, Vin mentioned some of these. As an institution, we're only allowed to nominate 2 students. And as mentioned before, this is the first year we're doing this. And you essentially have to apply to become a Churchill institution. So again, you get an idea of the competitive nature of this. So not only is it limiting each institution to the number of nominees, but there's a limitation on the number of institutions that will be submitting nominees because you have to be a Churchill institution. As been mentioned, the intent to apply should be submitted May 31st. This gives us an idea of who's interested and allows us to engage in a conversation with you about your interests and how good of a fit this opportunity is for you. So if you're at all interested, I definitely would recommend that you submit that intent to apply way before the May 31st deadline. Our campus deadline will be Friday, October 1st. That's exactly a month from the external deadline of November 1st. You should know that applications, honestly, have not fully thought out the process yet for the on-campus competition at UConn, but I suspect it'll look quite similar to our Goldwater competition in that faculty members, probably 3 of them, since we're only nominating 2 students, will review your application, and it will be based on the criteria that is already established by Churchill, which I will review. In terms of the review process at Churchill, applications are reviewed by a selection committee that's comprised of 8 former Churchill scholars from a variety of STEM fields. And an offer cannot be made before completion of an informal telephone interview. So most of the interviews, and I don't know if this is, again, we're learning as we go through this process, and anything you have a question about that I don't have the answer to, I will find out. So I'm not sure if this 20-minute telephone interview will be a video conference interview, since we're tending to do a lot of that these days, or if it's just a voice telephone interview. So after the finalists are invited for the 20-minute interview, finalists are notified within a week of the interview whether or not they're selected, and they have 1 day to decide. And after you decide, you must withdraw from other competitions. And that is because I think, as you can see, there's a number of opportunities to pursue a degree, a graduate level degree in the UK. And a lot of the students that apply for Churchill also apply for those other opportunities. And so they don't, and you see the number of spots that they have available. So they want to make it so that when if this is what you want, you decide right away and you take advantage of this opportunity. And if you're not interested, then you're freeing up slots for other students that might be waitlisted. Okay. In terms of criteria for selection, of course, outstanding academic achievement is one of those criteria. There isn't a minimum GPA listed, but as you might be gathering from all that I've been saying, this is a competitive scholarship process. And so most of the students generally have a very high average, so as close as possible to a 4.0. I will just give you an idea based on the other competition that I oversee, which is Goldwater. We typically only have students submit an application for an on-campus consideration with 3.5 or higher. And I can say that the majority of students that have actually been nominated for the Goldwater have had a 3.75 or higher. So that gives you an idea of where you should be in terms of when you're considering applying for this opportunity. They're looking for proven talent in research. What does proven talent mean? Lab experience, of course, internships. Sorry for the typo, it's independent study. So say, for example, if you might be in a math major, you might not, of course, you're not going to have bench experience, but you might have independent study work experience. They're looking for students that demonstrate originality and creativity. And interestingly enough, they're also looking for students with jagged edges. So they're not seeking well-rounded applicants. They're seeking students that have outstanding personal qualities. And I think as I go through this process, I'll get a better understanding of the idea of jagged edges. But Vin, if you want to tune in and just talk a little bit about that. If you have a sense, yeah.
No, I think this is really important. And I think it's one of the great things about a lot of these awards, right, is we spend a lot of time talking about well-roundedness, but really at this level, folks are looking for people who are making an impact. And when you're 21 or 22 or 23 or 24, in order to have made an impact, it requires a degree of focus and passion and commitment in a particular area. And so I think one of the great things about Churchill is it sounds like they really want to reward that depth and that focus and that attention and that idea of this is somebody who's really pushing the ball down the field in an area of expertise. And they're not really concerned about, do you have 16 student organizations that you're a part of? Like the resume kind of padding, I think is largely irrelevant for these folks because what they want is evidence that you're making a difference in the realms where you've chosen to really focus your energies. So I think when I talk about Rhodes and Marshall in particular, that's the way we tend to talk about jagged edges. And so I'm a big fan of that phrase. I don't think well-rounded serves people particularly well.
So the other competitions use that phrase as well?
Some, and I certainly do when I talk to folks. Yeah. So I think it's becoming a pretty common thing. Another way to think about it is that some of you may know the metaphor of the T of focus, right? That you want to have, you obviously need competence across a lot of breadth of areas, but everybody at some level will be rewarded in these competitions for having that real depth in one particular area where they really have chosen to make their mark. So I think the oddly shaped, not well-rounded, but jagged edged kind of shape, or the T metaphor, I think they both actually work pretty well.
Thank you.
And then there's Rhodes. We're looking for folks with moxie. So when you can define moxie and jagged edges, then you know what they're talking about.
Right. It is the true that with 32 Rhodes Scholars, they may just be looking for bigger round circles. So people who are doing a lot of everything, but it's, yeah, but again, we've had success in these competitions. Our students are doing neat stuff, and I don't want the conversation to sort of intimidate or discourage people from looking into them, because a lot of the things you're doing, once we have a chance to start talking about them, it becomes clear, wait a minute, that's a really cool thing you're working on there. You know, how are you planning to scale that up? What are the things you're doing to really make a mark here? And I think that can be a really exciting conversation to have with one of us and really, again, help you figure out, is this something I just sort of thought I was doing on the side, or is this actually kind of a bigger deal than even I realized because I've put so many hours and so much thought into it.
And as I mentioned before, you must be an American student with US citizen in your senior year or have just graduated. So this is an opportunity as well. Say, for example, you graduate this May, you can apply within that year within that year after graduation. It's important for you to review the programs of study that are eligible for this. I don't even think I mentioned earlier that this is STEM focused. And this is a list that I took off of their website of the eligible programs of study. I did find some interesting areas. Maybe none of you are within these areas, but modern and medieval languages, working in the language technology laboratory, I thought it was interesting, and also music and science, as well as I know a lot of students are interested in public health. So public health and primary care is included within these eligible areas of study. And just like you would review the eligible areas of study, I also encourage students to review the ones that are ineligible, because this will give you an idea in case you were thinking, oh, you know, what I'm interested in could fit into this particular area. I also encourage you to look at an eligible study, and maybe that area that you were thinking about is listed in an eligible study. So eligibility is always important when you're looking at any of these opportunities. You want to ensure that these opportunities are an actual good fit for you, and you're not trying to, like, you know, force yourself to be a fit for this, because it becomes even more of an arduous process to apply for one of these. The application itself includes an online application, 1-page proposed program of study, 2-page personal statement, a transcript, and you must. It's not saying that you must correspond with a potential lab supervisor, but I would say that's encouraged, and you should, you know who it is that you can potentially work with if you're going to pursue this opportunity. Churchill does require 4 academic letters of recommendation. So if this is something that you're thinking about, you have to think strategically about who you can possibly ask for letters of recommendation. Letters of recommendation in all these opportunities are a very big deal. So it's not that one letter that's going to write that one paragraph that says you came to office hours. It's about, you know, someone that potentially has overseen your research project, knows your research capabilities, know your potential in terms of asking scientific questions and being able to develop specific goals to work towards that scientific research question. So we can have additional conversations, of course, if you're interested in this, about who you can potentially ask for a letter of reference. Yeah, you must apply to University of Cambridge, because that's where you're going to be pursuing this opportunity. And the application deadline for University of Cambridge is early October. And the application is not complete until we actually nominate you. So you will fill out the online application, but that application will be able to see, but not until we nominate you will you be able to actually submit the application. And if for some reason, you know, you're in the process of doing that and you submit it, it is possible for you to unsubmit it. We'll have to contact the individuals that manage the online application. And you do need, again, another typo, sorry about that, an institutional letter of support. The online application will ask you for your personal information, education, program of study at Cambridge University, other fellowship information, again, letters of recommendation, whether you have any publications and presentations, non-academic interests. So even though they're saying they're looking for somebody with jagged edges, they're very interested in knowing what else are you involved in outside of your academic endeavors. They want to know about your future career plans and previous foreign travel as well. There's 4 uploaded documents that you will need. One will describe your scholarship prizes, awards, and other distinctions. And again, looking at these requirements in terms of the documents that are required, you get an idea and a sense of, you know, what they're looking for and whether or not this would be a good fit for you. No more than 1 page describing your research and employment experience, a proposed program of study essay, as well as a personal statement that's no more than 2 pages. And whenever you look at the requirements, you can also get an idea of the order of importance of things. And you can see the fact that they're giving you 2 pages to talk about yourself in a personal statement, that there's going to be considerable weight on the personal statement. And the other interesting thing is that there's no prompt for the personal statement. They're giving you free rein on deciding what it is that you want them to know about you. But some of the obvious things that you would want to write about for an opportunity like this is the research experiences that you've had, your academic interests, why it is that you're interested in the things that you're interested in, what drives you. And what's important is that you don't want to repeat information from the proposed program of study. And you also don't want to use this as an opportunity to praise the University of Cambridge or Churchill. I know a lot of students like to say, I am the perfect fit for this because, and they say plain on their website, do not do that. And so this is really an opportunity. If you think about it, if you described yourself in a way that is a perfect fit for this opportunity, you don't have to say that in the essay. They should be able to read what you've written and know that, yes, this is a qualified and a qualified candidate for this opportunity. And in short, I just want to encourage you, if you're the least bit interested, as I said, I'm learning about this, and so we can learn about this together, and take the opportunity to review the website. And if you have any questions, feel free to make an appointment with me on Nexus. And yeah, I look forward to talking to anybody that might be interested. And I think I'll go ahead and hand it over to Luann.
Thanks, Rowena. So going forward, I'm going to show you the Fulbright US Student Program webpage. I am the Fulbright Program Advisor here at the University of Connecticut, and so I run the campus Fulbright process. And going forward, there's a specific timeline related to UConn that is in alignment with the national deadline. For me, the easiest way to talk about what opportunities are available through the Fulbright program is to take you to the webpage and to look at the awards that are offered as part of the, oh goodness. I'm not getting an opportunity to share. Okay, I'm now the presenter, so now I can do this? Awesome, okay. There we go. Thank you. Okay, this is the Fulbright US Student Program website. If you're interested in a Fulbright grant provides an opportunity to do one of 3 things. One is to do an independent research project. The other is to do an English teaching assistant position, or to pursue a study program in over 140 countries worldwide. We're going to talk specifically about what's available through the Fulbright US Student Program for the UK. And that is specifically a study grant. So I'm going to show, this is the web page. We're going to go to the countries, Europe, Eurasia. And then we're going to scroll down and go to the United Kingdom. So when you're looking at this web page, what you're going to see on offer here is what's available in the UK. There is one open award. This is specifically for an independent research project, and it's not related to any specific university. If you're looking for postgraduate study, then there are partnership awards available to the UK, and here they all are. I'm going to scroll down slowly. I counted these up one time, but haven't done it recently. So these are partnership awards, are awards which will fund typically 1 year of master's study. sometimes 2 years, and less frequently a PhD at the partner university. As you can see here, this brand new award, the Fulbright Loughborough University PhD Award, this is brand new this year. That will enable you to do a 3-year PhD. The partnership award means that with the Fulbright Commission, the university has partnered with them so that the Fulbright Award, which typically provides a stipend, round-trip airfare, and basic accident and health insurance, the university is providing a full tuition and fees waiver at the university. There are 20 plus master's awards available. Some of them are very specific. In the UK, for example, this one here, the Fulbright John Wood Lambda Award in Classical Acting. There's also pretty open awards, Fulbright Newcastle University, University of Nottingham, and these awards allow you to take up any master's program at that university. You can also get a sense of how competitive these awards are if you scroll up to the top here, and you'll see the summary of Fulbright US awards. So as you can see, that open award to do an independent research project, 126 applications last year for the one award. It's highly competitive. And I've yet to see what exactly wins that kind of award. They're usually pretty unique, creative projects. However, for individual partnership awards, depending on the university and depending on the program that's on offer, there can be as few as 3 applicants, for example, at the Aston Martin Coventry University Automotive Award, because it's a pretty unique and focused opportunity. Whereas more open awards, such as the Cardiff University in Wales, 1-year master's, or the first year of a 2-year master's or a PhD, there were 43 applicants last year for that one award. Again, if you're looking at Durham University, there's only 4 people. So it takes a little bit of research and also to understand which awards are the most competitive. I would say that London School of Economics is one of those that's very highly competitive. London School of Economics has a worldwide reputation as being the top university for economics and political science. So the key to any of these partnership awards at any of these UK universities is you have to be able to answer the question right out of the gate, why the UK? Why do you need to come to the UK to do this particular program at this particular university? Because one of the questions that gets asked by the National Screening Committee here in the US, which is the first round of review of all applicants, is there are many top-notch, highly ranked, top 1, 2, 3 programs here in the US in a particular field. Why do you need to be in the UK to do this master's program? So the answer to that typically focuses on what's on offer in this program that makes it unique. Specifically, whether it's a particular researcher that you want to work with, whether it's the focus of a program that will allow you to develop a comparative perspective on the issue or field of study that you're working in. And this is something I spend time with talking with the students about when they are applying to a UK award. This does take some research. It takes a lot of clicking. If you decide that you're interested in, for example, Queen Mary University of London Award, then what you want to do is scroll down to the Queen Mary University. You can find it here. Oh, let's go any award, really. Let's look at the University of Kent. So this is describing the University of Kent Award, for example. You want to go to the University of Kent and click on the link there, and you want to understand what postgraduate programs are on offer at the University of Kent. And you can typically fill in, keywords. If you're looking at, for example, public health, you may come up with nothing right away. But you can certainly go through, maybe looking at a social policy program. You need to go to the individual university page to understand what specific programs are on offer. I do think that I have some guidance. Both Vin and I have traveled in the UK and visited multiple universities in the UK, so we have some familiarity with some programs and understanding of specific top programs at these universities, and we can provide some guidance there. But this is how to think about the university UK awards and to start your search. So let me give you a little bit of information about the Fulbright process itself. This is the applicants tab and getting started. Like the other awards that are on offer here, there are various components to the application. For the study research award, the academic award, which is what you would be applying to with the Fulbright UK programs, you have an online application portal, you have basic biographical data, and then information about your program that you're applying to, a 2-page statement of grant purpose, and that 2-page document is basically, you scroll down and you're going to be looking at the part that for applicants proposing to enroll in graduate degree programs. The questions that get asked are, why do you want to pursue this program in the country to which, the reasons for selecting the particular institute.
Uh-oh, it looks like we've lost.
It looks like it's lost me. Yeah, okay, sorry. So think about, these are the things that we'll work with you on over the course of preparing your application materials. You will also need an you won't need an affiliation letter. Your affiliation letter will be basically your acceptance to the university program. And the timetable for that is typically after you submit your Fulbright application, then you turn around and you also apply to the individual university and obtain a letter of acceptance, which hopefully you can then, if you're selected as a semifinalist, submit for consideration for a finalist position. You also write a personal statement, a 1-page personal statement. You need 3 letters of recommendation and your unofficial transcript. What I want to do right now is stop sharing this screen and share a slide with you that shows the timetable that's here at UConn. So this is the UConn campus Fulbright timeline. This year, we're running a graduate writing workshop for graduate students who are applying to do a research and or study program through the UK from May 17th to 21st. And then I will be running some workshops for undergraduate students who will be applying either for the ETA or research grant. On July 29th and 30th is the introductory session for those workshops. And then the following week, there will be 2 days devoted each to the writing workshops where we're writing the statement of grant purpose and the personal statement, and they'll be divided up amongst ETA applicants and then also study research applicants. The campus deadline for submitting all of your application materials, including your letters of recommendation and unofficial transcript, is September 13th at 12 noon. I collect all of the individual applications and then distribute them to our campus Fulbright committee. And you will have an interview with the members of that committee during the week of September 20th to 24th. This is an opportunity to get feedback on your application materials, to have your entire application reviewed by campus committee members, all of whom are primarily Fulbright alumni themselves, and have some have also served on the national screening committees here in the US. So they have very pointed advice about the strengths and weaknesses of your application. And you can then take that advice and make revisions to your application materials, and then submit from the campus final deadline, which is October 7th at 12 noon. Yes, the national deadline is October 12th at 5 p.m. Part of my process here at UConn is to ensure that all of our applicants have submitted their materials well before the final deadline. The process of submitting and then unsubmitting the applications, where I have access to the application portal to do this, that ends for me on October 8th at 5 p.m. So I like to make sure everything is all submitted, all the T's crossed, I's dotted, all the recommendation letters are in, everything's set to go by October 7th, so that we can move forward to the national deadline and not be competing with the 11,000 other students who are applying for Fulbright grants and trying to get their materials into the online portal. The online portal for the national deadline closes at 5 p.m. If your application is in the portal but doesn't make it through until 5:01 p.m., you are out of luck. Your application will not even be reviewed. So this is my sort of very antsy kind of approach to making sure everyone's in the portal well before the deadline. So I'm happy to meet with you. I would say right now I'm already in what I call the Fulbright process here on campus. I've been working with students, talking through their interest in the opportunities that are available to them through the Fulbright program. I like to know typically by the first week in June who's going forward with the Fulbright application. Typically, I'm meeting with students 1 or 2 times before they make that decision so that we can review the process and we can discuss what the best fit will be for you. You can only apply for 1 grant. There are many opportunities out there. Sometimes it's a matter of there being several options available, and so we try to figure out what's the best fit between your interests, your career goals, and what's on offer with the specific grant. As I showed you when we were looking at the Fulbright US Student Program webpage, you do need to read those web pages and award pages carefully in order to understand what programs you can apply to and what specific criteria are being asked for in terms of the applicant for that particular program. So as Rowena and Vin said, I'm available through Nexus. You can schedule an appointment with me to talk about your interest in Fulbright, and we can move forward from that point. And I'll stop sharing now and go back to you, Vin.
Fantastic. Thank you, Luann. Thank you, Rowena. And thanks to all of the students who are here. We have a couple of minutes if anyone has any questions they want to pop into the Q&A or the chat. I know I've been having conversations with several of you through the chat. I'll also point out, as I just did there, that I'll be posting a recording of this session on our YouTube page. And so feel free to point any friends or colleagues who might be interested in these opportunities in that direction. You're of course welcome to go back and look as well. But yeah, if anybody's got any questions, we'll stick around for a couple of more minutes. Otherwise, thank you for being here. I know this is a lot of information to kind of throw at you, but sometimes that's what you need. It's just to make it real and to get a little bit of a sense of the details of the process and what the opportunities look like. And so I think this has hopefully been a helpful session for you. We'll stick around, but otherwise you're free to go and enjoy your what is now late lunch. And I wish all of you a good end of the semester, and I hope that you stay safe and have a productive summer. And if one of these opportunities turns out to be the right one for you, I just want you to know that we very much look forward working with you. So thanks a lot for being here, everybody. We'll stick around if anybody has any specific questions that they'd like to ask.